give him this. Wait just a minute. I don't know exactly what you're interested in.
Well, I'm interested in your experiences during World War II particularly, and what went on around here that you can tell me about.
Well, the prisoner of war camp, and there were 3 camp commanders, and I was secretary to all 3 of them. I have a card on all the officers, their duties and everything there. And LaGuardia was a friend during the time he was mayor of New York. He was a friend of one of the prisoners of war.
Oh, really? You had
And
Italian prisoners there? Or?
No, just nothing but German. Wait, let me correct that. We had some Italians, and they didn't get along too well, so we shipped them to Alva, Oklahoma. What I was starting to say, they call it the Jap camp, you know. Never was a Jap there.
No Japanese, all Germans there.
Germans and Italians for a while, and then the Italians we shipped to Alva, Oklahoma. I thought you might like to have a copy of that.
Yeah, I would.
Read it or whatever. If you'd like a copy, that was in the paper not long ago. I think the date's on it.
Yeah, 92. April 92.
I mean, fairly recent. When we go out there, they've got a copying machine, and we'll copy it there.
Okay.
And this is some more stuff of that. And we'll get to the pictures later. This is, I don't know whether you are interested in Cumberland County. In this book that this man from Cookville wrote.
Oh, Calvin Dickinson. I know Calvin.
He mentioned the prisoner of war camp in it. And when he was up at the bank selling the books, Christmas time, he found out that I had worked out there. So he sent a man up, and I took him out there and showed him all around and answered a lot of questions of his.
Yeah, well, I've tried on 2 or 3 different occasions to put students on the topic, either for a senior honors thesis or a master's thesis or something. And in each case, it hasn't worked out. The student
You mean at Cookville or
Yeah,
UT?
no, at UT. At UT. I just haven't gotten it done. I may have somebody again this fall going to do that.
I have a request that 2 or 3 people have made, and as we go in out there, see, there's an awful lot of meetings held out there. Our Duplicate Bridge Club meets out there in October, and we have people from several states come, and they thought it'd be nice to have a sign out the front saying that was the 4-H camp. We'll talk about that when we get out there. Now, this is all, well, telling about the camp and pictures of it and what have you. You might look through that and see if there's anything in that that you'd be interested in having.
Crossville internment camp. Where does this come from? This material?
Well, most of this is when I took this fellow's assistant out there, and the man that's in charge out there gave us copies of these.
I see. Okay.
And some of it I had already, and here's the table of contents. I should have put that on top. See, Camp Forest, we would send, we got all of our supplies from Camp Forest during the time. Once a week they sent a truck down there after supplies of all sorts. And we sent prisoners back down there sometime. And you can see all of that you want. Now, this, when we gave this talk at our church on it, this shows what the prices were back during that time.
Oh, those are wonderful.
And I didn't know what you'll be interested in, what you wouldn't. And here is the article. The winter of 1943 was rough in spots. See, let's see. They started bringing them out there in 43, I guess, wasn't it?
Probably, yeah.
I think that was right. And I started to work out there right soon after they opened it. And I worked there, and camp commander says, when do you want to leave? When we were closing the camp up, and I said, well, I want to be the last one to leave. So we closed the camp on Friday, and I went to Oak Ridge on Monday and started working for the federal government over there. I had gone over and been interviewed and had gotten a job before that.
Now let me be sure I've got the chronology straight. You started at the camp when?
When it first opened, I think it was 43.
43.
I think it was about the time it opened.
Yeah. How? You knew there was a camp. Did you go up and apply for a job? Or,
yeah. I was working for the state at the time in the welfare office, and they started hiring them out there, and there were several of the people in Crossville went out there to work, girls and secretaries and so forth, you know.
Mm-hmm. How far out of town was it, the camp?
Well, we can measure it as we go out there. We'll go in my car and we'll go out that way. There's two ways of going. I like to go out like you're going to Sparta, and there's a big sign there saying Clyde York 4-H camp and all there. And you turn left. Now you can go a back way. I think that is the best way to go. And this is a book on, these two are on Crossville.
They each have something in them about things.
You might just glance at that. These belong to a man from our church. He's my attorney, and his wife and I play a lot of bridge together. And she brought me these and for you to look at. And it tells a lot of stuff about Crossville and so forth. I don't know whether you'd be interested in. It tells here about Camp Douglas near. I don't know whether you'd be a bit interested in it. You can look at it as we go out or whenever you want to. And I wanted to tell you about one thing. I don't know exactly what you're interested in knowing or what, but during the time we were out there, the girls in town formed a club, and it was Maidens United for Fun Service, and we met once a week and in town and entertained the enlisted men, you know.
Oh, who were out at the camp?
Yeah. That were out there. And
how big a group was it? How many enlisted men did they have out there? A few dozen or a few hundred? Or I just sort of wanted to get a ballpark kind of figure.
I don't know. I'll see if I can come up with a figure. I don't think anybody's asked me that. Everybody else know how many prisoners were out there.
Well, I'm interested in that too.
The enlisted men, there was two MP outfits, 316, 318 MP. And I don't remember how many was in that. In either one of them, I don't guess.
But there was enough to get a party together.
Oh, yeah. This is the man that he is a prisoner of war out there, and he comes back over here to see a woman, and I don't think he came this year. I don't know how they became friends or what in Mississippi, and his friend, through my sister-in-law down there, found out that I lived here, and they came up one day, and I took them out and showed them all around. He wanted to see where he had been in prison, you know, and but he of course didn't recognize any of it because he's never outside the stockade. See?
Right.
So he didn't. And I wanted to tell you about prison. We had one prisoner of war escape, which was bad for everybody. And I tell you, that camp commander was hard to live with during that time. And he went out on a garbage truck, and he slipped out with it and somehow got out, and then he started hitchhiking up towards Kentucky. And the first one that picked him up was some highway patrol. And he rode a while with them, and he saw his picture on the dashboard, and it scared him, of course. So he says, I believe this is as far as I need to go. They never did even recognize him or anything. And he got out and hitchhiked on up into Kentucky, and he worked on the bluegrass farm up there. He was gone, I don't remember how many months, probably about 8 or 9. As I say, the colonel was hard to get along with during that time. But the day they caught him, and he came back, and he walked in, and my desk was right out in front, and the colonel's was back here, and he said, oh, I want to apologize because I haven't shaved today. The colonel told me later, said, oh, and cared if he hadn't had a stitch of clothes on just to get him back.
So he just got as far as Kentucky?
And worked on the bluegrass farm up there for a while.
Uh-huh.
And then he decided he wanted to come on back.
So he just came back, turned himself in?
Uh-huh, yeah. Mm-hmm. And this is the secretary's book on, you're not interested in this, I'm sure, on what we call the muffs, the girls that help entertain them once a week, and the enlisted men, you know.
I'd like to take a look at it. This is what the group did.
Mm-hmm. Here's some of the enlisted men's pictures that I kept, and this was. Let me let you look at that, and then I'll tell you.
Well, I can pick that up later.
This man was chief warrant officer out there, and he had a dog. I can't tell what he's holding. Anyway, he had this cute little dog that he was keeping for a friend of his who was overseas during the war. Mm-hmm. And when they came out here, asked me if I'd keep the little dog. Manchester Terrier. It was a registered dog, cutest thing you've ever seen. And I kept her. And when he got ready to leave, he left her with me. That little dog could come as near talking as anybody you've ever seen. I could not even look at her or anything, and I'd say, "Lady, let's down." She'd run to the door. I wasn't living here; I was living over in town then. My boy was married, and she'd go to the front door and sit and wait on me. And one time, I took her with my mother, and I were going to Georgia. I was born in Georgia. We were going back down there, and we took her with us, and she'd always get on the back seat and put her feet right up on my shoulders here, and she just loved to ride. And we stopped, got gas, and let her go to the bathroom and so forth. And when I got back in the car and went off, I forgot about her. I was in a hurry getting down there, and got way down. Says, "Where's Lady?" I turned around, went back, and that little dog was sitting right where I let her out. Just as smart as she could be, and she belonged to him. Now this is the minister of our church, which is the oldest church in town, First Congregational, and he helped out there more than he would. Every Saturday night he'd have the enlisted men, some of them wanted to come in and eat, and they'd play, I guess, games, card games or something, I don't know, but he helped entertain them.
What was his name?
Nightingale, Reverend Nightingale.
Reverend Nightingale.
And this was the camp adjutant, and this building's been torn down. I'll show you where it was, but that's our headquarters building. And he's been coming through here going to Knoxville to see his son that lives over in Concord, and he usually stops to see me. And he's having his 50th wedding anniversary this year, and I got an invitation the other day to come to it in Little Rock. I don't know whether any of these pictures you'd be interested in or not. This looks
like Master Sergeant here.
Yeah, Heifel. This has been torn down, but this is as you go into the camp, and that was the guardhouse. And this was right in front of the administration building.
That's part of the staff, or most of it, or just...
Yeah, we all work. These are all girls that worked out there. Let's see. This one. Now, where's Margaret? And that one. Well, the three of us go to the same church, and we had a program a while back on the prisoner war camp. Our minister was fairly new here, and he wanted to know all about it. I took him out. I took him and his wife out there and showed him around. But we gave a program one night, and this fellow from TPI taped it, and he said he'd send me a copy of it, but so far he hasn't. And this is some more of the enlisted men. And it's the same picture. And here's where the Muffs had picnics and entertain them and all that kind of stuff. And
Yeah, a lot of guys a long ways from home.
yeah. And this has nothing to do with the prisoner of war camp. These are just real old cards of Cumberland County.
Oh,
So I don't think that you'd be interested in any of that. I told you about the prisoner escaping. We had one camp commander that every time he liked to play golf. At that time, I don't think there's any golf courses around here. But when we didn't have anything to do, we'd get out behind the administration building, and he'd hit golf balls, and you know who had to pick them up and bring them back to him. But he enjoyed that a lot. And
have a hard time writing that into a job description these days. Yeah.
yeah.
Now these cards are all the officers.
That's one I actually used the whole time, and I put there. He was one of these are the 3 camp commanders, and
Early
this
Dudley
one,
Addington.
you see, this one was a real good friend of Harry Truman.
Dudley was?
And I had to send him a Christmas card, fix it up and all. Now this man right here, Stockade Commander, he wrote a book on all that out there.
Hurston Cooper. This is his book. Is it one of these?
Is it? No, there's another. Well, there's another.
Yeah,
okay.
Hurston Cooper.
Okay.
Right.
I didn't care too much for him, but you can't like everybody,
What was it you didn't like about him?
Oh, he didn't tell some things just exactly like the rest of us agreed with about the stockade and so forth, but it wasn't bad, nothing bad. And this was the camp adjutant for a while. And
this lists his duties.
Yeah.
That's what you
this is actually what they were as they were assigned these duties. I put them on here, see, and of course kept them the whole time. These were official duties. And Brindle was his camp adjutant too. After he was before Threlkel. And here's another one on Threlkel. And these were camp commanders. Not camp commanders, the 316th and 17th.
Oh, the MP.
Commanders, yeah. And this one was the finance officer. I don't guess you'd be interested in that, but that's just some of their duties.
This is a terrific record of what went on there.
Well,
chaplain.
If you want to take any of this stuff, you can take it, and you can give it to Woody and let him bring it back to me.
Would it be possible for me, say, to copy these?
You want to take them with you and do that, or copy them out there?
No, it would take too long to do it out there.
That's what I was thinking. Well, and you might not want to do them all. For instance, that one doesn't have anything on it. There's a few that don't. I was trying to see what others might be of interest. That's the chief nurse.
Colonel Patrick J. Hurley, that's a name that I know too.
Well, he was the camp commander.
Yeah, but
where did you?
J. Hurley. It's the name either the State Department or. Well, I'll find out.
Well, let's see if there's anything. This is all back before they had electric typewriters.
Yeah.
I was trying to think if there's anything I can think of interest to tell you about any of these.
Was there a lot of turnover on the staff? Did a lot of people come and go, or was it fairly,
not too many?
fairly permanent?
Not too many. Yeah, a little, but not much. for instance, that one is discharged. See?
Mm-hmm.
Some of them I don't really remember. And that's one I don't right now remember.
It would be hard to remember.
He's in
them
the
all
Signal
after
Corps.
this.
See,
Mm-hmm.
the Signal Corps wasn't in my office.
I don't want this off the left. No, ma'am. I said operator. I'm trying to charge call my friend.
He's having trouble with the telephone, isn't he?
Mm-hmm.
We could charge it here. I'd let him.
Camp Athletic
I
Council.
guess I should tell him. Let me tell him.
Okay.
He doesn't quit calling me Miss Aytes. I've been telling time to fuss at him about that. Really not used to that. Well, now let's see what.
Jean Truckee, head nurse. Was there a hospital there, or a dispensary, or?
We had a hospital, and it was, for the enlist, for everybody, the prisoners and the other two.
How large? People you said have asked you how big a group of prisoners did they have there?
We've disagreed on that, and I wish I could find out for sure. The number that sticks in my mind that we had 2,200, but somebody told me I was wrong. It wasn't that many, so I'm not sure. I'm going to find out from Trelfel next time I see him, if he knows how many. There's not anybody that I can actually contact that knows, except if I could get in touch with one of the officers like that. Oh, and I wanted to tell you, this picture right here, I set it down to show you. That is painted by one of the prisoners.
Oh, somebody with a lot of talent.
See, doesn't it look like
Yeah.
Germany?
Looks like Bavaria. Looks like
Up in that
yeah.
vicinity.
Looks like home to him, I imagine.
I imagine that he is painting it like his home. I don't know, but that would be my guess.
I imagine those people felt that they were a long ways from home.
Oh, they did. And there was another story I was going to tell you, and I'll think of it later as we go along, I guess. But now, if you want to take all of this, you can take it. If you're going to take this, I'm going to need it back soon. I don't guess you'll want to take this, will you, or not? Because this doesn't actually belong to me, But
looks like you've got two copies of this here. This is not the same thing.
Is it, or is it? Maybe I don't know. See the table of contents.
Yeah, it is.
Oh, it is?
Mm-hmm.
Well, then you could take one of them.
Yeah, if I could take one of them and go through it, take a look at it, and
Woody could get it back to me soon.
But I mean, if you need one of them quickly, then I could take the other one.
Well, since they're the same, why don't you take just one of them and let the other one?
Yeah, and then I can get them back to Woody.
Get it back to him.
And I'm careful with these kinds of things. I haven't lost anything yet.
Well, that's good. You hope. These are things that were cut out of the paper. See, it tells about the Tennessee Central train coming in and the time. And it tells all about that. See, when they brought the prisoners in here, they were so afraid that the people in Crossville would not like it. And they brought them in and unloaded them in the middle of the night down at the station here in town and took them out there, so the population didn't really know it. It was even being done. And of course, worked out there, wasn't allowed to tell anything, so that was one of the things that they did. I noticed that in there where the train coming in. And
Was that with just the first group of prisoners that came in, or did they do that pretty regularly?
well, they brought them all pretty much in at the same time.
Oh, I see. They brought it just a big
A train
bunch
load,
in.
and they did it all that way, best I remember. That they brought them in the middle of the night and brought them on out there. And let's see, there was something else I wanted to tell you about that.
How did the people feel about it around here?
Well, that was what, one of the prisoners died, and they buried him over in the cemetery here in Crossville. At that time, we just had one cemetery. Now, we have a city cemetery and a Crossville cemetery. Of course, a lot of little ones all out around, but these two big ones. So when he died, they buried him over at the cemetery in Crossville here, the one on the one. And as soon as people found out about it, you have never seen such a uproar. They went, Dr. Smith had a drugstore here, and he was the mayor at the time, and he'll see his name in there, Charles Smith. Angela Smith was his widow that wrote this article right here, that one.
Right.
Anyway, the people, when they found out that the prisoner had been buried over there, they came out. I remember very well, Dr. Smith and another one or two, seemed to me like Moses Dorton. He was president of the First National Bank, the only bank here at the time. They came out there, 2 or 3 of them, and talked to the camp commander and says, you get that prisoner out of over there, says we're going to have trouble. Says everybody's up in arms about a German prisoner being buried next to their relatives in Crossville. And says if you don't get him up in a few days or right away or something, says the people of Crossville are going to dig him up and hang him on Main Street in Crossville. Can you imagine something like that? But anyway, that's what they did. And so they got him up and brought him back out to the camp and buried him out there for a while. And it seemed to me like there's 2 or 3 more died. And they sent them all to Camp Forest and buried him down there until the war was over. And then when the war was over, they shipped him back to
Germany. Where?
Yeah.
So people got pretty excited about that.
They didn't like any part of that. They didn't put up with anything of that. That was something else.
It's one thing to have the camp out there, but another is burying somebody permanently in the cemetery.
And
That's
yet it gave a
interesting.
lot of jobs to people
Uh-huh.
from here, you see. And they should have appreciated it, I guess.
Yeah, they could appreciate it, but still not want somebody
Yeah.
buried in their cemetery.
My neighbor next door is out walking. I see he's taking on the mailbox. He gets my mail and brings it in, puts it on the front porch for me, and I give him my newspaper.
Well, that's fair enough.
Now, what else do we? I'll think of some more things as we go along.
Oh, sure.
If,
You were there until the camp closed.
Yeah, the day we closed it, I left and went to Oak Ridge.
Was the war over when they
Yeah.
closed the camp?
It was December 46. I don't remember the 9th, I think. Seemed to me like it was the 9th.
So quite a while after the war ended then.
Well, when did the war end?
45. So maybe December 45.
I guess it's December 45. Yeah.
But there were prisoners in the United States through 46, so that's why I wasn't sure about that.
I'll look at something in yonder, I think I can tell. But I stayed until the war was over. When the war was over, we sent everybody out and sent them. They went back to, sent them back over there. Now, we were talking about the Italian prisoners. We had a good many Italian prisoners to start with, but they did not get along with the German prisoners.
Germans?
And that was the reason they shipped them to Alva, Oklahoma.
Were there fights or?
I guess. I don't know. That all happened behind the stockade.
Uh-huh.
And I didn't know about that much. But they weren't getting along. And that's the reason they had to ship them out.
So the way the camp was set up, you had a stockade, and then you had office buildings and things.
When we
outside
go out
of it.
there, I'll show you. It's changed a lot, and it's hard to visualize just what like it was, but I'll tell you the best I can. See, when UT took it over, they tore down our office building, the finance building, and all that kind of stuff, and built some buildings around the back, and I'll show you them. Where I went out there just for curiosity. I belong to Home Demonstration Club, which is run by UT,
Right.
and the woman home demonstration agent lives 2 doors down here from me, and she and her husband rented from me twice, 2 different houses, and now they bought that, and I moved over here after they were there. I didn't even know they were there, but we've been good friends a long time. But anyway, I was going to tell something else about them, I guess. But
The redoing of the buildings and...
yeah, I'll show you the ones that have not been changed at all. All the stockades been torn down except one chimney, and the hospital and all that. Officers' quarters. Well, I'll just show you all that when we get out there. I think you'll enjoy that more. Why don't we leave all this here and go out there and look around, and you may want to ask more questions, or I may think of more things to tell you, or what. You said you had